There isn't any place as good as home. You have spent your childhood, you have plenty of memories with your families, and most importantly, you have grown up in it. Today we're going to talk about the 10 most stubborn homeowners who refused to move. Mr. Austin Spriggs. Usually, people in Washington have started to sell their long-held properties to make the best of their traditional home. But Austin Spriggs wasn't ready to seal the deal with any developer or aspiring homebuyer in that area. He refused to sell his peeling brick home to many builders who showed interest in rebuilding and renovating the property. Austin Spriggs is a private person. He wouldn't even share his mobile number with his neighbors. He turned down the media for interviews. Today, his home located between the 4th and 5th Street in New York has become a mystery. Mr. Austin had bought that home in 1980 for approximately $135,000. He and his wife had spent many years in that home. People offered him hundreds of thousands of dollars for his brick home, but he kept turning them down. And that was not because he wasn't offered a good amount. Many developers were ready to purchase his old-school home for millions. He kept turning down the aspiring property owners. The word is that years later, Spriggs blew his chance. 4 years after those first offers, he was in foreclosure and trying to sell for $1.5 million. Finally, he decided to settle the deal and sold his property for just under $800,000.
Before we move on, I got a little challenge for you all that will only take 5 seconds to complete. First, you just need to leave a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell, and you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Easy, right? Try it. It really works.
Edith Macefield. Based in Seattle, Edith Macefield got popular for her stubborn nature that convinced her not to sell the home no matter what. She even turned down an offer as big as $1 million. She said she did not want to move out. Money did not matter to her. Perhaps she was so emotionally attached to the home that she couldn't stand the idea of moving out. Macefield lived in that small and old house situated on the northwest 46th Street until the last days of her life. She recently died of pancreatic cancer. The house was constructed in 1900. This two-story home has 2 small bedrooms. Edith lived alone but had a child who died at 13. The condition of the house has gotten so bad that it is leaning to one side. Macefield willed her century-old 2-story home to her closest friend and a caretaker, Barry. Barry signed the property deal with a group that intends to renovate the property while keeping it intact. Vera Cocking. Vera Cocking, an 85-year-old, caught great attention by turning down Donald Trump's offer. She refused to sell her property to the American president. The home was put for sale on the market for 2 years, and since then, the price has dropped from $5 million to $995,000. Initially, she got an offer from a casino owner who wanted to establish an empire near her property. Later, Trump planned on building a casino on the adjacent plot. The main purpose of Trump was to buy Vera's property and use it as a parking lot for all the customers. However, Vera was not ready to sell her property. The case was even dragged to the court. The interesting part is that Cocking won the case. Trump's casino idea failed. People even speculate that Trump offered her millions and a free room at Trump Plaza. She was offered $250,000. So what made the lady turn down such a big offer? Well, she clarified that it wasn't the money she wanted. However, she wasn't ready to sell her home as she wanted to stay in it. Randall Acker. Based in Portland, Randall Acker is a popular lawyer. The Portland authorities shared their wish of building an accommodation facility on the same spot. They wanted to purchase the house and use the area for the construction of students' accommodation. Randall Acker wasn't up for selling his home. He even took the case to the court and won it. As a result, Portland State University had no other option but to construct all the high-rise buildings and students' accommodation around Acker's home. Currently, the 16-story students' accommodation is built around his home. The construction started right after the university lost the case, and it was finished in 2012. Randall even celebrated his victory by buying around 400 helium balloons and flying them from his roof. He had purchased the property for $380,000 in 2005. He had been living in the house for years, so it might be because of his emotional attachment to the house that he wasn't ready to give up. But he said that he enjoyed living in the house, and it was the best place for him to practice. Nail houses in Guangzhou. In January 2015, a couple of families based in Guangzhou, China, refused to leave their homes. As a result, the developers had to construct a ring road surrounding the big building. People claimed that it was one stubborn family that declined the offer. These buildings and families were then named nail houses, as in stubborn nails, as the people were so annoying and irksome that even after the constant efforts of the developers and the best offers, they were not ready to move out. That has not only happened once, but a property in Suzhou in eastern China refused to leave their home as well. The home has been standing in the location for over 6 years now. They are living happily, especially the elder citizens seem to be living a happy and healthy life in their nail houses. A strange grave. A Chinese family declined all the offers that could result in the movement of their relative's ancient grave. There is no denying that China's development projects wait for no one. It doesn't matter whether you are dead or alive. What could be a better example than a construction project that was supposed to be carried out in Taiwan? The authorities decided to build a multi-story complex around a grave. However, the Chinese family did not allow the developers to remove the grave from its original position since it was the grave of their relative and had been there for years. They even refused an offer of 1 million won or approximately $160,000. The strange and tiny column stood 10 meters above the foundation floor for months until they finally accepted compensation. The old coffee shop. Even though the old coffee house is the only building in the area, the owner, Salaku Jani, has refused to sell the property. It is quite common for people to wait for that one right client so that they get a good price for their home. But when all the homes and buildings are sold in the neighborhood, there is no reason to refuse to sell your home. Situated on the intersection of two roads in northern France, the building owned by this 71-year-old appears to be super important to him. All the homes and buildings that surrounded this property a few years ago were demolished. Like the neighborhood places, Salah received plenty of interesting offers for the cafe. Perhaps he wasn't ready to sell it because of his memories of working in the cafe for 46 years. The owner of the cafe shop had worked for several years to buy this property. He purchased it in 1965. The coffee shop reminds people of the good old days when life was easier and better. The faded drapes, timeless accessories, yellowed photographs hung on the wall, and the classical jukebox. It seems like everything in the coffee shop tells a unique story. Salah made it clear that money wasn't his intention. He said he would die peacefully in the coffee shop, then make millions by selling it. Developers had thought that Ujani would agree to the offer sooner or later, but his stubbornness didn't allow him to sell the place, even though he had been receiving only a few old customers. He was happy serving coffee to them. He doesn't receive many customers at his coffee shop, but surprisingly, this never scared him. He is too busy making the best of his life in his old coffee shop that he hardly cares about what's going to happen if he doesn't get any customers in the future. Mrs. Wu. A homeowner named Wu Ping from southwest China has caught the attention of the media and people for refusing to sell her home. She fought the battle to protect her home for many years. However, the developers started the site excavation near it, and it got to a point where even getting up and down seemed a major challenge. Nobody knew how the lady managed to live on that site, especially during the construction and excavation. It must have been difficult for Mrs. Wu to bear the annoying excavation noise and the construction views for so long. Mrs. Wu was the only one of 281 families in the area who rejected an offer of a new house or financial compensation to move from the site in Chongqing in 2004. The Chinese media have dubbed her the stubborn nail for her refusal to give up. Spiegelhalter. The British version of the Chinese nail houses, Spiegelhalter has been a clear example of holdout. The owner of the property has constantly turned down many developers. No matter how much money they were offered, they would refuse to sell their home. It seems like these owners are so stubborn that they can accept the tall buildings that rise above them and roads running through them, but they won't sell their homes. Well, it must be something really important to the homeowners. Otherwise, Spiegelhalter wouldn't keep this property intact. the Wickham's department store made an offer to purchase the building. But as the owner declined, they had to build the departmental store around it. However, people say that the property in the middle of the store has messed up the store's design. Zhengmeizhou, another popular nail house in China that has been standing intact even after the power and supply was cut, is owned by Zhengmeizhou. Located in Zhejiang State, Meizhou has been living in a half-demolished home. People wonder how she is able to live without power and water supply in this home for so long. All the properties had been demolished brick by brick in her neighborhood, but she decided to keep her house intact, even though it had been demolished partially. Thanks for watching. Be sure to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos. Stay cozy, and we'll see you in the next one.